Alright, this is going to be a demonstration of a bug that's existed, as far as I'm aware, it may actually be existing ever since Esker's release. A lot of people may not even be aware of this bug. So, what happens is if Esker does not have the S3 light perk, he actually loses damage. Now this might sound a little weird because S3 perk has nothing to do with increasing your damage output. It just changes the behavior of the way you stack your S3. But if you don't have the S3 perk, how S3 actually works is that 50% of the time you will gain the damage increasing stack, or 50% of the time you gain a cooldown reduction stack. What happens is that when the game reads that you've gained a damage increase stack, your next cast of S3 will deal normal damage. However, when you gain a cooldown reduction stack, for some reason the game calculates your damage with an incorrect formula. We have calculated the formula, and I'm going to post that in the description. But do know that the formula does not match with your S3 damage when you're taking S3 light, and it appears to be a miscalculation bug or some way the system is reading the skill books incorrectly and applying the numbers incorrectly to the damage. This does result in a damage loss that happens, well, 50% of the time. You'll just deal less damage with your S3s. So, we're going to go ahead and demonstrate this. This is going to be done on the training dummy, which Vespa has previously told me in an email that I sent them isn't a proper testing environment, but that's bullshit because I discovered this bug in Eclipse. And I've also demonstrated in a previous video, which will also be linked in the description, this bug happening in a fire dragon fight. So, what happens here? We'll cast S3. Our first cast, we gain the cooldown stack. So, the next cast is actually going to do less damage than it's supposed to. So right now we're at 0 stacks. Well, actually, hold on. I had 0 stacks for when you haven't gained any damage stacks, the damage is appropriate. It's that each damage stack gets applied at a lower value. So our next cast here, we're going to S3. It's going to do that same number, so 701 is the first 3 numbers, so we'll just keep a track on that. So 701. We gained cooldown again, which this kind of helps because this is going to take a lot of casts, so this video is going to take a couple minutes. Alright, we have no amp on. That's something I'm also going to do, is make sure we have no amp. Now I am gaining some attack from his S4. Okay, so 705. And that's just from the attack stacking from his S4. It's not a significant increase. Obviously, if we gain a damage stack, Esker's damage will be significantly higher because it's supposed to be 30%. It's not actually 30%, it's actually 29 because Vespa doesn't even give us the correct numbers, but that's a whole separate issue, and I don't want to get into that right now. So again, we haven't gained a damage stack just yet. So 709. We're almost stacked on the S4, so we just gained our first damage stack, so now we should actually see a fairly big damage increase. So we had 709. So 919, so yeah, pretty big increase. We went from 709 to 919. Now, we did gain a damage cooldown. Now, here's the interesting thing. We are at 10 stacks. At this point, it should do the same damage as the last cast. There's no other variables that should change my damage. The first 3 numbers should be 909. But we gained a cooldown stack, and watch. Will not do 919. 855. It did less damage than it's supposed to. We just gained a cooldown stack, which means we're going to do that 855 again. We're going to wait till the amp is off because we're only going to cast when amp's off. It's going to be that 855 again. 855. Now we gained a damage stack this time, so now we're going to do the normal damage again. And amps are off. So 919. So this is going to be probably around 11. Yeah, 1126. Was the first 4 numbers now. So 1126. We did not gain the damage stack, so now this one's actually going to do less than the 1126. So we're going to watch those first 4 numbers. 998. So instead of the 1126, we did 998 for the first digits. Now we gained a damage stack again. So we're going to do full damage. Now it's 1333. And we gained a cooldown, which means this next cast is going to do lower damage. And this goes all the way to 10 stacks. Like, you just do less damage. So 114. Instead of the 133, we did 1140. So 1300, or yeah, 1300 divided by 140. Oh wait, other way around. 114 divided by 133. So we just did like 15% less damage than we're supposed to. Looks like we gained a damage stack again, so it's going to do the bigger number. 1540. And I'm having a hard time reading that. Did we gain damage stack again? I think we did. So we just gained 2 damage stacks in a row, so it's going to be a higher number again. So 1747. Gained a damage stack again, so this one's going to be higher as well. So it should be about 1953. Alright, now we just gained a cooldown. So the last one was 1953. We had the same number of damage stacks, no amps on. Attack value has not changed. We are wearing Manticore. We have no further stacking damage other than just the free attack he gets from S4. And we just did 1568 instead of 1953. 568 divided by 1953. So we just lost 20% of our damage. And this keeps going. Like, the higher stacks, I think it caps out like you basically lose 25% of your damage once you're at 10 stacks. And you lose it half the time because it's just based on what you gained last. Rather, you gained a damage stack or a cooldown stack. So now we did 216 because we did a damage stack on that last one. Now we gained a cooldown stack. We're going to wait for the amps to be off because I want the damage to be consistent. And we just did 1711. So you just do less damage. If this only happens if you don't have S3 Light. If you have S3 Light, the damage is consistent. But if you don't have S3 Light or you are slotted with S3 Dark, which I know that Esker doesn't do a lot, but in content such as Eclipse, it actually would be his ideal perk. But you can't take it because you lose damage. 2367. Wait for the amp to wear off. 2367. Nope, 1854. 1854 divided by 2367. And we just lost 21.7% damage. And 50% of the time that's going to happen. You're just it's going to depend what you gained last. So half the time you're going to be doing the full damage amount, half the time you're going to be doing 25% less damage once you're fully stacked. And S4 Dark already comes with its own downside that you only target 4 targets instead of attacking all enemies. So it already has a downside as far as targeting, and then because of this bug it has a downside of lowering your damage. So we're going to do higher damage, 2574. We just gained our 10th and final damage stack, so this is going to be the full damage amount. This is a fully ramped S3 2781. And I think it gained a damage stack again. Oh, I just cast it with the amp. My mistake. I didn't need to wait for the amp to come off. Amp be gone. And amp's gone. Okay, so now we can cast 2781. Now we just gained a cooldown stack because the cooldown stack's the most recent applied buff. So now this next cast is going to do less than the full damage amount. And voila, you are permanently bugged. Half the time you're going to do lower damage. We'll just leave amp on and just cast for amp damage just to see. So 486. 4866. We just gain cooldown. So amped is 3743. So yeah, just lose a bunch of damage. Just half the time. And then I'm going to do less damage again because we gained another cooldown. So we're just going to do the lower damage. And this is permanent. There's nothing you can do. There's no way to correct this bug in game. It's just a bug in the code. The game is calculating the damage formula incorrectly. I will post the info in the description. I reported this bug to Vespa over a year ago, and they have not fixed it. And this bug has most likely existed ever since Esker's release. Thank you. Have a good day. Fix your game, Vespa.